Namaste everyone and Jai Shri Ram. Welcome back to my show with your host and your dost RJ Megha. I am back with another phenomenal guest and I'm going to go right deep into his introduction because I know we have 30 minutes that we want to have a conversation with and I am sure you wouldn't want to miss 1 second of what he has to say and give us. His name is Dr. Marc Halpern. He's the founder of California College of Ayurveda, the oldest school of Ayurvedic medicine in the United States. He's also the co-founder of the National Ayurvedic Medical Association and California Association of Ayurvedic Medicine. He has written 5 textbooks on Ayurveda and yoga that are used in colleges around the world. There's more to this. Hang tight. Dr. Halpern is also the author of the popular book Healing Your Life, Lessons on the Path of Ayurveda, and he recorded the #1 best-selling Yoga Nidra meditation CD in the United States. Yoga Nidra and Self-Healing. That's what it was called. I know a lot of you are excited now and want to go quickly look into that. I'm sure I'm going to ask Dr. Halpern where you guys can find this book. He has dedicated his life to alleviation of suffering. Let's welcome Dr. Halpern on stage with us. Good evening, Dr. Halpern. How are you?
Thank you so much, Megha. I'm wonderful, and I'm happy to be here with you and sharing sacred time with you and your audience today.
Thank you, Dr. Halpern. I'm sure we're happy, delighted, and excited to have you here. While I have a very limited time with you, let's quickly talk about, or why don't you just share a bit about your personal journey? Like what initially inspired you to explore the realms of wellness, healing, consciousness, Ayurveda? Just give us a little bit about you.
I've always been interested in alleviating the cause of suffering in humanity. Ever since I was a young boy, I noticed around me that everybody was unhappy, everybody was unhealthy. Yeah. This seemed to be a chronic problem no matter who I looked at, whether it was my parents, my extended family, people in the community. And I thought to myself, there must be more to life than growing up like this and being unhappy and being unhealthy. I was probably only 5 years old when I had this awareness. And I thought there has to be more to life. And so as I grew up, I kept my eyes open and I wanted to see what it is that makes people happy, what it is that makes people healthy, and then what I could do to make myself happy and healthy. Of course, that was kind of selfish, but I wanted to be happy and I wanted to be healthy. And I also wanted to help other people to be happy and healthy. And so that really became the beacon of light that guided my path on my journey. And that led me first to study chiropractic because, well, 2 reasons. First, the first person I met who was happy and healthy was a chiropractor. And so he inspired me and I thought, wow, I want to be like him. And he took me under his wing. I was only 16 years old at the time. And he mentored me. Yeah, he mentored me. It was really very beautiful. And then I began to practice chiropractic. But I also came to the realization that there were deeper causes of suffering that needed to be explored, deeper reasons why people were not happy and were not healthy. So I wanted to continue my journey and my studies. And I entered into a postgraduate program in holistic medicine, where I studied Chinese medicine, herbalism, homeopathy, and something I had never heard of, which was Ayurvedic medicine. And as soon as I heard about Ayurvedic medicine, it spoke so deeply to my heart, so true to my heart, that I knew I'd be dedicating the rest of my life to this science, even though I didn't fully and completely understand it yet. And so I began to pursue additional teachers that could mentor me in Ayurvedic medicine. And I sought out one of the top Vedic scholars in the world. His name is David Frawley, Vamadeva Shastra. And then he introduced me to Dr. Subhash Ranade from the Ashtanga Ayurvedic Medical College in Pune. And those two really became my mentors through the process of learning Ayurvedic medicine. In fact, for many years, I would bring Dr. Ranade over from India, and he would live with me in my home. And he would bring me the classical textbooks of Ayurvedic medicine. And I would study those textbooks with him, and also in between his visits. And then he would come and visit, and I would ask him 1,000 questions. It's very different learning in the United States than it is in India. I understand that in India, it's not always considered to be polite to challenge your teacher and to ask a lot of questions. But this is the way I learned. And so I asked him 1,000 questions, and I recorded all the answers, and I would study those answers in between his visits. And he'd bring me every time he'd come, he'd bring me more classical textbooks to study. We'd also see patients together. And this is how I learned Ayurvedic medicine. And so I got deeply, deeply involved in it. And I began to wonder, why are there no Ayurvedic doctors here in the United States? This was, by the way, this was very early 1990s, maybe 1992. Why are there no Ayurvedic doctors here in the United States? And why is there no profession? I thought, this is the most incredible profession. It really answered the deepest questions that I had about why people suffer and how to alleviate that suffering. And I wanted everybody to benefit from this knowledge. In fact, I started to practice Ayurvedic medicine, seeing patients. Within 6 months, I had a 6-month waiting list of people to come and see me who wanted Ayurvedic healthcare, because they came to realize that it worked and it answered the deepest questions that they had about why they were sick and what it is that they needed to do in order to heal themselves. So from this journey, I was sitting in meditation one day, and I had a vision. And in that vision, I envisioned a profession for Ayurvedic medicine in the United States. And that began with the development of a school where people could study Ayurvedic medicine. I talked with my teachers about the idea of starting a school, of starting an educational program. And it was a big project, but they were very supportive. And I began to do the research into writing curriculum and developing the program, and then eventually beginning to teach the program. That was in 1995 is when the school began. So the college is actually celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. Now, that was just really a part of the story. And there's so much more to that story. And I tell the story in the book, Healing Your Life. The prelude to the book tells about my journey. And part of my journey was also healing myself from a very, very challenging disease that, I started getting sick in 1987. I developed a terrible immune disorder that we now believe was triggered by Lyme disease. And it attacked my nervous system, it attacked my joints, it attacked my skin, it attacked my liver, my red blood cells. I was completely bedridden from the condition. And I had to go on a journey to heal myself. And it took, the acute part of it took several months to be able to get to walk again. But it took me 7 years to fully heal from that condition from 1987 to 1994. So my journey is really one of personal experience, utilizing the knowledge of Ayurveda and yoga for my own healing. And it is one of education. I just having the blessing of these beautiful mentors, gurus, who have been able to share that knowledge with me and support me to be able to develop the college and to develop this knowledge here in the United States. So it's been 30 years now that we've been doing that.
Wow. Well, congratulations for your journey as well as 30 years to your institution. I think that's fabulous. You touched upon a lot of things there. I want to first talk about, you said that you had gurus and mentors that came from India. Did you have any cultural difference when you were learning with them? Like one you mentioned where asking questions is not common, but anything else that happened? Because you come from a different background, a different culture. How did you overcome that?
Yeah, I do. It's always interesting that this white fellow from New York who was born into a Jewish family became a yogi and a Hindu and began to teach Ayurvedic medicine and spread Ayurvedic medicine throughout the United States. So that is always interesting to see that. And then what is the difference really? We learn in the study of Vedanta that below the surface we're all the same. That this external body, this external mind are transient, and that the eternal self is the same in me as it is in you. There is no difference between you and me. We may have a little different skin color. We may have a little different shape to our faces. We may have a little different history for where we're from, but ultimately we're exactly the same. We're two beings incarnated onto this planet, going through a journey towards self-realization. And along that journey, we're going to have all kinds of experiences, and we're all different. So sure, there are differences culturally between India and the United States. The upbringing of children is different, and customs are different. But those things can all be put aside as soon as you remember that we're really all one. We're really all the same. And it's from that realization that we actually not only develop deeper inner peace, but we also develop peace of mind. And so it allows us to be present with each other, even though we have differences, even though we appear to have differences. We can be completely present, respectful, and loving toward one another, because deep down inside, we're the same. And everybody wants the same thing. We want optimum health, and we want peace of mind. And we're all on a journey to be able to experience that and to express that out into the world. So our differences culturally were not so vast, even though Dr. Ronaday had not traveled around the world until he had come to the United States, and he was still very new to customs in the United States. And of course, I showed him how we live in the United States, and it was very educational for him. And when I went to India, he organized for me to travel all around India and visit Ayurvedic institutions and live with Ayurvedic doctors in India. And it was very culturally different, especially in the 1990s. I mean, even more so than today. Very simple things were very, very different.
Yeah.
And so, but if you go with the right frame of mind, then you feel completely supported, and you're supported by the people around you, and you're also supported by God. You're supported by the divine, because if you're fulfilling your dharma, if you are living a dharmic life, then everything is going to work out beautifully. And so our job is mostly to get out of the way and allow ourselves to be beautiful instruments of the divine.
Wow, you sound almost like a monk, but in a very, very positive, calm. I mean, you have a fantastic personality. I don't think people come across like this in an interview that's online. It's fantastic. I'm sure your work reflects in how you're coming across. Um, what's been one of your challenges with California College of Ayurveda? Like, did you have challenges where Ayurveda is not so well known in the West? I mean, what did you do? How did you come across those challenges?
No, I don't think that was really a challenge, that Ayurveda wasn't known in the West, because I took it upon myself to educate the communities and to educate as many people as I could about Ayurveda. So when the college began, I traveled around from yoga studio to yoga studio, speaking to groups of anywhere from 2 or 3 people to 20 or 30 people. And when I would go there, I would talk to them about Ayurveda and talk to them about studying, and I was able to touch their hearts. And when their hearts were touched by Ayurveda, it awoken the knowledge inside of their hearts, and they wanted to study. And so the school, actually, before we had our beautiful physical location that we have now, we've got a beautiful campus and buildings and so forth. The college actually started in my garage, literally, truly started in my garage. We remodeled the garage, and we turned it into a beautiful classroom and office for myself. And that's where we held classes. And our very first group of students 28 students drove from all parts of California and Oregon and also Nevada to come to class. They would drive sometimes 8 hours to come to classes. We held classes all day on the weekends. And so they would come for 2 full days, 8 hours a day of study. And so it really wasn't a challenge to attract the students, because I took it upon myself to educate as many people as I could. We were also gifted beautifully with some amazing, again, when you're living a dharmic life, then the right people show up in your life to support you. So my yoga teacher turned out to be the editor for Yoga Journal. And so she was the asana editor for Yoga Journal, Dana Farhi. And she introduced me to their staff. And when they heard about this vision to start a school of Ayurvedic medicine, they wrote a whole piece in their, back then a magazine was a big deal. And Yoga Journal was a really big deal. They wrote their feature article on Ayurveda and asana, which I wrote, they published. And then they wrote a whole piece on the development of the school and the vision for the future of Ayurveda here in the United States. That also built tremendous awareness through the country. And there are stories like that, one after another, of how the universe was supporting the unfolding of the school, so that we moved eventually from my garage to where we are now, which is a beautiful campus. We have 15,000 square feet of classroom and building space. We have an administrative staff of 30 people. We have faculty of 12 people. And so we have a beautiful college and campus that we get to enjoy and we get to share. So that wasn't a challenge. I'd say if there was a challenge within the community, within developing an Ayurvedic school, I would say those challenges were more internal challenges, not challenges with the public, not challenges with the outside being ready for it. In fact, I'd say the outside is so ready for it. People want Ayurveda and they want it now. Even if they've never heard of Ayurveda, they want it, because what they want is a system of medicine that's going to address their body, their mind, and their consciousness, and the integration of these 3 aspects of who we are. That's what makes Ayurveda so unique and so beautiful. When I started the school, I met a woman who said to me, and she was a gifted woman, gifted in the sense that she was, I guess we would call her clairvoyant, meaning that she sort of was very highly attuned and spiritual. And we were sitting together one day and I was telling her what we were doing. And she said to me, you're going to be successful as long as you get out of the way. Yeah, you're going to be successful as long as you get out of the way. And of course, it took me a long time to fully realize and appreciate what this mentor was saying to me in that moment. And what she was saying to me in that moment is that we have to let our ego get out of the way so that we can be an instrument of the divine, so that the Shakti of the universe can move through us and beautiful things can come from us. And so anytime there were challenges along the way with the college, well, I have no doubt that it's because I was getting in the way. And so my work was to reflect on how I was getting in the way and then grow and evolve on the inside. We get in our own way when we try to overly control things. We get in our own way when we feel fear or anxiety. We get in our own way when we're overly critical. All these things. So, we're all on a journey, an inward journey, to remove those obstacles. And in doing so, allow not only our service to flow through us, but also our love to flow through us. And when our love intertwines with our service, then we're guaranteed to be successful because we're truly doing dharmic work at that point.
It's so beautifully put. Um, you mentioned the word dharma and dharmic work. What is dharma for you?
Well, I don't know that there's a dharma for me that I get to, determine what that means. Dharma is when you're living in alignment with the divine Shakti of the universe. It flows from above down and from the inside out. It moves through us. So I think of it as you might look at Lord Krishna playing the flute. And Lord Krishna is playing the flute, and the flute is our bodies. And Lord Krishna's breath is the Shakti. And Lord Krishna is the divine essence of the universe. So from God, from the divine essence of the universe, comes the Shakti, the breath that moves through our bodies. And then if we get out of the way, then what comes out the other side of the flute is celestial music, beautiful music. And that's the music of our lives. And that's Dharma. And so Dharma is when you're living in alignment with the Shakti, when you're living in alignment with the service that God wants you to perform. Not because you believe God wants you to perform it, but because you know that God wants you to perform it, because God has spoken to you clearly in your own heart. And when that happens, you have no doubt. And now it's just about serving. You see, Megha, for a long time, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do with my life. There was many parts of my life I haven't told you about. And some of it is told in that book, Healing Your Life. But there was a period of time where I was very confused and not sure what to do. Yeah. And I prayed every day that my path would unfold before me and that I would have the courage to walk it. And I looked up to God, and this was before I knew yoga, really, and before I knew yogic and Hindu philosophy. I just looked up to God and I said, God, you know what? I'm done. I'm done running my life. I want you to drive. I'm going to get in the back seat. I said, show me a path, give me the courage to walk it, and I will completely surrender, and I will serve that path. And that was my prayer every day. And that became my guiding principle, to listen to what the divine wants me to do. And my job is to surrender and get out of the way and serve. And to me, that's Dharma.
Wow. Very well put. I'm going to shift gears a little bit because I'm concerned I'm losing time with you, but I'm getting amazing wisdom. So I'm going to continue in this pathway as well. Do you think Ayurveda will help in curing diseases or curing things like cancer? Or does it also help with mental health or mainly for women with PCOD? I know I'm mixing three areas, but I'm purposely going in this route because I feel like you'll be able to touch all these topics.
Yes. Ayurveda is both a system of preventative medicine and curative medicine, and it works through the laws of nature. Now, what that means is if a disease is curable, Ayurveda will be able to support your body to heal itself. This is what Ayurveda is really focused on. But it does that when we align ourselves with nature and we are living in a harmonious way. We see patients with cancer. We see patients with heart disease. We see patients with diabetes, with Parkinson's disease. We see patients with PCOS. We see patients with so many different conditions. Yeah. And we see patients make tremendous progress on their healing journey. Oftentimes, we see the patient's condition cured through Ayurvedic medicine. Because Ayurvedic medicine is not just the medicine. It's not just the pill. It's not just the herbal product. Ayurvedic medicine means living in harmony with nature. So when we work with patients, we are not only their doctor, we're also their counselor. We're also their coach and their cheerleader. and we're supporting them to make the changes in their life that are necessary for healing to take place. So if you're a cancer patient and you're living out of harmony and you're under a lot of stress and you're maybe working too hard and you're got all this anxiety aside from the cancer, your body is not going to be able to heal itself unless you address the anxiety, unless you slow down and you don't work so hard and you nourish yourself properly and you take the herbal medicine. The herbal medicine is part of it. So sometimes the work that we do is alternative, meaning they will just follow the Ayurvedic protocol. Sometimes it's complementary, which means, or integrative, which means that they integrate the Western medicine treatment and the Ayurvedic treatment together. So we can work with patients in both of those models, either providing them with an alternative path to healing or an integrative path to healing. That's what we do.
Wow. So all those that are overwhelmed with life or having mental health challenges, like you mentioned, your team is a team of coach. This is from a patient's perspective, right, Dr. Halpern? How about people that want to pursue medicine, but or they're pursuing medicine but now are interested in Ayurveda? Like, do you have something to tell them?
Well, it's really interesting you mentioned that. Just this past weekend, I was speaking at a conference of 1,500 medical doctors from Gujarat.
Okay.
And they were all Gujarati. And they were gathering together for a big conference. And what they were interested in was, just like your audience is interested in, is how can Ayurveda complement the work that they're doing? Because they're recognizing that although they have some great protocols for helping people, they're missing actually supporting people's bodies to heal itself. They're missing how to heal a patient, not just treat the symptoms of the disease.
Yeah.
And so, especially with chronic diseases. So medical doctors are very interested in what we're doing. And in fact, we're starting a new program at the California College of Ayurveda specifically for medical doctors. It's Ayurveda for medical doctors, and it's going to lead to a fellowship and a certification for them. It'll be a 2-year program for medical doctors. And we also, of course, we have programs for those who are not medical doctors, and they're going through the full program. And there's different levels of training they can receive. They can become a counselor only, working in preventative medicine and supporting people to transform their lifestyle. And that's about 1.5 years of study. Or they can learn the clinical medicine, it's 3 years of study, or go as far as they can go here in the United States to become a medical Ayurvedic specialist. And that takes about 4 years of education to go through. So we have all of these options available for the public. And one of the beautiful things is we have a variety of ways that people are able to study. So for instance, we have our full-time program, which is taught in person at the college, but it's also broadcast live over the internet. And so just like we're talking to each other right now, I talk to students all the time. And they're actually, many of them are at home, but they're in class. And there's a classroom going on, and there are students simultaneously online. And so they're all treated the same way, and it's all entirely interactive. And so we have students from all over the world, even from India, that are studying at the California College of Ayurveda. We also have programs that are in a different format entirely, where students can study just on weekends. And it's a longer term of study, but it's just weekend study. And then we have a mentorship program where it's mostly independent study, but you're assigned a mentor that's working with you, kind of like the way I studied. They're working with you to make sure that you're understanding all the principles. But no matter what format a person studies, the standards of education are the same, the testing is the same, and the competencies that they need to meet are the same. So because of this, we've made it available to so many people, and we've educated thousands of students over 30 years.
Amazing. Do you feel you've attained your purpose of your life?
I think I live the purpose of my life. Yeah. I mean, do we ever attain it? Well, I'm not sure what that means, but we live it. And so every day is living a life of purpose for me.
Nice. And what else do you want to accomplish?
It's not about what I want to accomplish. It's about what needs to be accomplished through me, what I'm capable of doing and how I can be of service. And well, that's not really up to me. That's up to God. That's up to, you know, we'll see what speaks to my heart. I don't really think ahead about that. I ask what it is that I need to do in order to be of service. And a lot of times I don't know what that's going to be until it arrives. And so that's where listening comes in. You always have to be quiet enough and live a quiet enough life that you're able to listen. That's where meditation comes in. That's where having an altar and sitting in front of an altar and praying and or just meditating and doing yoga. It's a lifestyle. When your lifestyle is quiet, then you're able to listen. And for me, it wasn't always that way. But when I got really, really sick in the late 1980s, that changed my life. And everything shifted for me. So in many ways, that was the best, worst experience of my life, because that horrible experience led me to where I am today. And sometimes we don't know what the challenges in our lives are going to bring us as gifts. We don't know. But they're there. You have to have faith.
Yeah. Well, you're a man of surrender, belief, and trust.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, if somebody wants to connect with California College of Ayurveda, how do they do that?
The best way to do that is just to go to the website, ayurvedacollege.com. All of the information about the college is there. And then, you can connect with me as well if you have questions. And I never mind giving out my email. It could take me a little while to respond, but it's drh, Dr. H, at ayurvedacollege.com. And you're welcome to reach me that way. Those are probably the two best ways to keep in touch with the college and to keep in touch with me.
Fantastic. I will make sure to give it to all our viewers and listeners also in the description of this link of our video so that you can reach out to Dr. Halpern. All those questions that are running in everyone's mind, unfortunately, I'm running short on time and he's got other commitments. So we're going to respect his time and his commitment. And thank you so much, Dr. Halpern, for being here.
Truly an honor to be here, Megha. And thank you for your service that you're doing to bring Dharma out into the world. So thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Jai Shri Ram, everyone. I will stay connected with all of you once again with another guest. Until then, enjoy Dr. Halpern's podcast and continue watching our show on my show, Satat Satarma. Jai Shri Ram once again, everyone.